What's going on, everyone? Big Bob with It's What We Do podcast. Thank you for joining us again. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Black Widow Investigations. Hit them up on Instagram. If you guys have any legal needs, they do everything from family, car accidents, motorcycle accidents. Let them know what you need. Tell them you heard it from It's What We Do podcast, and they will take care of you. Also, thank you to Pura Gente Chingona clothing brand. I'm rocking their shirt. A lot of you guys always ask where I get my gear from. They are one of the brands, and thank you, Jesse and his wife, for the t-shirt. Today we got a special guest, Chill Aguilar.
Yay!
I know what you're saying.
Crowd goes crazy.
Yeah. Chill, thank you for coming, man. You come all the way from Hollywood.
Hollyweird. Yes, sir. Just to see you, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you, bro. We appreciate it. It means a lot.
It's all love.
So how'd you get the name Chill?
Well, in about 1994, I was in a recording studio with my brother and some producer guy. And he was like, man, every rapper has a cool name, like with a dog on it, right? And so at that time there was Sin Dog, this dog, whatever. So he goes, man, we should call you Chill Dog. And I was like, okay, that's kind of lame, but at 14, you're just listening to that and chill. So they just said, hey, we're gonna call you Chill Dog. And then people were like, oh, Chili Dog. I'm like, oh yeah,
Chili Dog.
Sounds good. You like chili dogs, bro? You're like, yeah, I guess, So I went with that, and then I dropped the dog after a few years.
Yeah.
And then just became chill. I don't know. I don't think I'm that chill, but I guess it just kind of stuck, And then since I was 14 and 42 now, so people call me Chill Aguilar.
The thing is, it sounds like your real name.
Yeah, a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are like, did your mom give you that name? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, you just go along with the story, you know what I mean, dog? Like, it is what it is. I just kind of, my dad called me it, so, over the years, and till this day, he'll call me like, yo, what's up, Chill dog,
Yeah.
I guess I just went with it as my stage name, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
My real name's, too lame, I guess, it wasn't cool enough.
Basic name?
My whole family has all nicknames. My dad has he's gang mentality, so all his kids, he goes, I had so many kids, I couldn't remember all their names, you know what I mean? So I had to give everybody nicknames, so.
How many there is you guys, kids?
There's 6 of us total,
Wow.
and and then he has 27 grandkids, so.
Shoo, man.
Pops is,
Yeah.
Aguilars, you know what I mean? We put in work.
Hell yeah.
We make our own gang, you know what I mean? We recruit from within. Just kidding.
So you said your stage name. What kind of you were into the hip hop, right? As a rapper and.
Yeah, well, I was raised in my dad had a church, you know what I mean? He had a church, so we were like.
Hot in here?
Is it hot?
Or is it me?
I think it's just us, bro. We're just smoking because the podcast is such fire,
Telling you. All right,
I run hot, so we're good. Pops has basically had a church called Set Free in the early 80s and 90s, and we just were there. He had rap, before rap, you're allowed to rap, Churches were calling it the devil's music. He put us on stage, and if you look at videos, it's us at like 8 or 9 rapping, young MC, bust a move or whatever's. So yeah, I just started rapping since then, and just me and my brother had a rap group that we took the name Set Free, like the legacy on, and traveled the world, and we did record deals with Rick Rubin,
Wow.
Did all the LA Unified School District schools and high schools, and we would go in there and do like a anti-gang, anti-drug message, So we got in the music industry from about 14 to 21, pretty strong.
Oh, that's a good run.
So, So we did stuff with a lot of different people. Snoop Dogg, when we were 16, we did some stuff, in the studio with him, and Cypress Hill are good friends of ours, Sin Dog and Delinquent Habits, you know what I mean? All these guys. So they kind of taught us the game. We were a little bit younger, but at that time, I think I was telling you earlier, there just wasn't many Latino groups, or it was like Cholo rap.
Right.
We didn't do Cholo rap, we did party rap, you know what I mean?
So would you consider yourself like maybe like the Pitbull of your time?
I mean, yeah, Pitbull's a little cheesy, Dude, my dad's gonna love you because he loves Pitbull. My dad goes to Vegas with my mom, and they're dancing like at one of his concerts. I'm like, what the heck?
But I meant like his style, like that.
But here's the thing: we like hits.
Okay.
My dad was always like, raise us. We're like, nobody wants to hear some sad story about your life.
Yeah.
Rap. We want to dance. We want to party. And he was right. We made we were like the Gap Band of hip hop.
Okay.
So we had singing on the hooks, and we played like instruments and keys, and it was just party music, you know what I mean?
Right.
During those times. So, because we did live shows, so we had like LAB, they're like a breakdancing group,
Wow.
Rock Steady. They would all go on tour with us, you know? So, shout out to my boy, you know, out there, them watching. But they, bad guy, they used to b-boy. So, we had guys flipping off stages, girls dancing. It wasn't just like us rapping. Like, dudes, you know, I always tell guys, you ain't that great. Like, I don't want to hear you just get up there and rap a poem. I'm not going to clap. Show me, perform. And my dad, like, kind of taught us that, like, hey, the crowd wants to see, you know, a show.
Right.
So yeah, we were like the pit bull of our time. We did fun, party, you know, just made people feel good. You know what I mean? And like girls we wanted girls at our shows more than guys. Who wants a bunch of cholos standing against the wall, holding up the wall, like, hey, what's up, babe? Like, yeah, you're all right. Yeah. I mean, we love the guy, we love the dudes. You know, they're cool, we're on the homies. But we knew if the girls came, the guys would follow, and they did. So yeah, man, we sold out concerts and did a lot of cool stuff over the years and traveled the world. We went to Kosovo, Bosnia, all over. We would perform for the troops, you know what I mean? So.
And this was a Christian. You guys were a Christian group, or what would you?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't consider ourselves Christian rap. We were just positive, you know what I mean? Because by that time we were in our like late teens, and we were just like, we weren't really singing about you down with G.O.D. or anything, because we kind of went to places, and you know, like the crowds that we performed for, like they'd be turned off if you said like, hey man, you know. You want me to tell you about God, or you're going to hell? So we never like to call it any certain type of music. It was just good music.
Nice.
And people like to label stuff, but I'm like, man, it's just good music. Like till this day, people are like, oh, you do this to me. I'm like, man, I just make good music. Why can't it just be, you know? So maybe inspirational or encouraging. So yeah, we did that for a lot of years.
Can people find your music still online, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't put out too many albums all the time, but I have a lot on there. Just iTunes or you know.
Well, that's how we connected. I don't remember exactly, of course. These days, a lot of it's on social media. I don't know if I came across your video. I think it was. And it was the...
Till the Wheels Fall Off.
Till the Wheels Fall Off.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my wife, man, that was bad, dude. So
yeah,
hear this guy.
I think you hit me up and you're like, bro, put me in your next video.
No, I didn't say
Yeah, bro, I got don't put me pull out the Instagram, bro. I got it somewhere. It's old, but no, he just said like, if you ever need anybody to ride, I'm down. And that's where I think we kind of connected. And I was like, man, that's a cool dude. You know what I mean? That's, you know... He's like, you said like, you should let me know. I would have wrote out there, you know? So yeah, I did a video like, you know, this was like, I'm so busy with work and life and stuff that music kind of took a back seat for the last 6 years. But I love music. It's my first love, you know? It's like, it gets me higher than any drug or any drink. So I still produce and create and help people with their projects and do some stuff on the side. But I kind of like, you know, put out the song like, cause it was a time where, you know, we had gotten, a lot of stuff had happened and transpired, and like our group broke up, you know what I mean? Like our family and our club, and a lot of stuff had happened. And so I was just like wanted to write like some about, you know, brothers on two wheels. You know, I was missing my family, like riding together. My dad in the front, and then my blood brothers and all my other adopted brothers, like all riding in a pack. You know what I mean? 120 miles per hour, you know, tire to back tire. You know what I mean? Just mobbing down the freeway. So I love the whole culture of the bikes and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna write something for the riders, you know, like, cause they had like different songs for like bikers and stuff, like Get Your Motor Running, or you know, like, you know, some of that old like rock stuff.
I mean, it's a little cheesy now, but it's still.
Yeah, so I just started, you know, just singing that hook. We gonna ride till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? And I just started playing it, and then I produced all my own music. So I just do me, you know what I mean, bro? Like I don't really make it thinking anybody's gonna be into it, but it ended up blowing up. Like, and I didn't put music out for a while, you know, and I put that out just as like kind of like a side project. And all the writers, you know what I mean, from like even guys who were on the show, like the Sons of Anarchy or mine, they were like hitting me up like, oh, that's dope, bro. Like, you want to put that on the show? So. Yeah, it did some cool stuff. You know what I mean? It introduced me like to a whole other like biker world that you know didn't have to be like necessarily like outlaws or anything, but it had a lot of people that were just riders. They just love to ride with their families or their relatives, or you know, one lady sent me a message and she's like, you know, my dad was, you know, real sick and on his deathbed, and I played him the song, and like it encouraged him before he passed. You know what I mean? And, like, you know, he was like, it made him, reminded him of when he was writing. You know, so. You know, being out on the road and stuff, like riding, you know, people, you know how it is. It's like, that's a feeling you can't describe, you know what I mean? It's very euphoric and very like, man, just, So I just remember that, and I was missing all my brothers, and like in my dreams, I said in my dreams, they still ride with me right now, and I talk about like my dad and my brothers, and because life happens, and families argue, and people, you know what I mean? It happens if you ever live life long enough, people fall away or fall apart or pass away, so it was just a thing for everybody who rides, females and males, you know what I mean? Like, and kind of told my story of like how, how we ride,
But so. you could also use, I'm riding till the wheels fall off in many different ways. It doesn't have to necessarily be about a bike.
Yeah, it could be in your marriage. It can be in your relationship with your kids. I mean, man, it was like good friends. Like I had one of my brothers. He just passed away. Mario, and his whole slogan even before I did the song was "Till the wheels fall off." You know what I mean? So him and my boy John, and all these guys that like were my homies, like. It's still the same thing. He's not here no more, but we're always gonna ride for him, and till the wheels fall off. And that was always like a biker slogan, right?
Yeah,
They had like the pin TDF.
Right.
So I always remembered that. Like if you're not from the biker world, or you don't really know,
right.
You know what I mean. But a lot of the dudes who rode or over the years knew that was like our slogan. So yeah, I mean to me, and I just thought about it like. Eventually we all have an expiration date. You know what I mean? We all gonna meet our maker, whatever you believe in. So. I'm like, as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna ride for my family, for my wife and kids, and it's just like, you know how it is, man. You can have a flat or a breakdown, or you know what I mean. But I always tell people that a breakdown is just a breakthrough. You know what I mean? So we, in spiritual terms, we have breakdowns, and we have a flat on the side of the road, and we can feel like giving up, and so we use it in a lot of words, like you said. You know what I mean? Till the wheels fall off, I'm gonna do the right thing and treat people righteous and try to just be a good human.
I like that word, righteous. People don't know the meaning of the word righteous. If you don't know, look it up. You'll be surprised.
Google.
So, one thing you just said right now, you said, shit. I lost
said a lot
track.
of things.
Yeah, but you're talking about riding, and anyway, I want to move on because I didn't keep it in my head long enough. Shit. This is pissing me off. Anyway, I want to move on.
You'll remember it.
All right, yeah, it'll pop back in my head.
Tonight at like 2 a.m. when you're sleeping, you'll be like, hey, you'll be telling your wife, like,
come back tomorrow, we're going to do this again.
Can you come back and make that drive up here?
So you grew up in church.
Church boy.
I grew up in church.
Ooh, you're really twisted then. That's why I knew we connected.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
Love at first sight, bro.
I can't tell a lot of, like people always say, oh, I knew something was different. I don't have that sense. Like if you're cool, you're just cool. I remember what I was gonna say. So you said when you were talking, whatever you believe in, and this is kind of a good segue. So we're talking about we both grew up in church. Growing up in church, right? We're the same age. We're very young.
40's the new 20, they
40's
say.
the new 20, yeah. So in our era, and I think we're talking about, back then, the 80s and
isn't it
early
funny
90s.
when we say back then?
Yeah, that's terrible. We are there.
I was just telling my dad, like, we're those guys talking about the youngsters, those youngsters are wild out there, eh?
Well, I was in the gym a couple days ago and I had some heavy weight up.
We know.
And this older dude, he's probably in his 60s, he comes up, he goes, my God. He's like, I could barely lift 100 pounds. You got 100 pounds in each hand. I said, yeah, but I'm not that young. He's like, how old are you? I said, 42. He goes, oh, you're young. He goes, well, not compared to now. So he had like 3 generations.
Oh, wow.
You got the early 20s that are watching me going, damn, dude. Then you got this guy's going, but I'm in between them. It's kind of weird. I'm like, he's like, well, yeah, I guess you're not that young. He's like, but compared to everyone else, you're older.
Yeah.
So, growing up in the church, we were always taught in our generation, don't listen to this.
Well,
don't say
tell
this.
them what gang you were a part of in the church, because they're all gangs.
What do you mean?
No, I mean like you go into a church, and like if you go into a church and they say, hey brother, where do you fellowship at?
Oh, like the church?
Yeah, you got to say the right name. If you say the wrong name of the church, you might get jumped. You know what I mean? So they're like gangsters. They just do it in different ways. They say, oh, where do you fellowship at, bro?
Where do you fellowship
if you answer wrong and you say, Calvary Chapel, and you don't say Victory Outreach, you're gonna get, you get mad dog. That's the same as gangs. They hit you up in the neighborhood. Where you from, Vato? Yeah, it's the same thing. Humor. My dad used to use that joke.
So I was always taught, which I don't know, maybe I'm wrong right now, maybe I'm not. This is what I believe now. God, you gotta believe in God, you gotta believe in Jesus. I do, my family does, that's us, right? But the older I got and the more I seen different people, different beliefs,
right?
As of right now, I feel like if you feel this table is going to give you that faith, going to give you that extra step to be a better person, to have the will to live, have the will to go till tomorrow or the next day, then my God, what I'm going to say is you believe in this table.
Right.
Like that's all you. Whatever gives you that motivation to keep going.
Yeah, you do it.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, what?
That's me though. I was talking to a guy today, and he was pretty much against that. And I was like, I'm not arguing with you. This is just how I feel, because everyone needs to believe in something, and you can't force someone to believe in something, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, as you get older, and if you're raised in church, you're raised in religion or Catholic. I was watching people do this Catholic thing, and you can ask them, hey, were you like, do you know like anything about being Catholic? And they're like, no, not really. I just know that I was baptized, at a baby, and that's what I am. And I'm like, well, but I don't trip on it,
right?
Because as you mature and you grow and you live long enough, you start, like maybe when I was younger, you'd be like, hey, you gotta love God, you gotta be, because you're raised that way. You look in the mirror and try to remember every Bible verse. You're like, right. Oh God, I start crying because you're not gonna go to church and get the award or whatever. But over the years and having a great mentor like my father, you progress and you become less religious and you become more relationship.
Right.
It's like, yeah, if this table is gonna, help you change your life, if that's what you believe in, then go ahead, bro. I ain't tripping, or because everybody can make their thing like, well, that's my God, or that helps me. Don't judge me. And I'm like, I'm not judging you, but it looks like whatever you believe in ain't working because your attitude sucks. You're treating people like crap. You treat your wife, your family. So I'm like, I always say the proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean, dog? Like if a table is making you a better person, do it.
Right.
If this religion or that's on you. Me, I know what helped me and what saved my life from being depressed, angry, violent, going down, about to spend the rest of my life in prison or dead, was God intervening and making, a way and showing me that, hey, I love you, son. And all the stuff I learned as a little kid of, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Or when I'm weak and I'm broken, he's strong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And knowing that, for me, bro, it's like religion taught me and you, because you're raised in church, right? That you have to, like, your works, like what you do, or if you do this or that, or you go to church every Sunday, or you're gonna get into heaven.
Right.
That's not reality. You know what I mean? As you get older, you realize, hey, just treat people good.
Right.
When nobody's watching, when nobody's looking, how you treat people is how you're gonna be judged. You know what I mean? When you stand before God one day, he's gonna look at your heart and know, hey, did you treat people good? Did you help that homeless guy? Did you give, when nobody's watching, right? So you can go to church every day and do that. I used to believe in that. Like, oh, you gotta go to church all the time. You gotta pray every second. That's great. You can do what you do, but your relationship between you and the Lord. And I know for me, like, I'm on my journey, and I ain't got no time. I'm so busy enjoying life and helping people and doing. I ain't got no time to be tripping on if they believe in the table, or not. Does that make sense? But there was a time, and you were raised that way. It's like where that's all you live for. Like, hey, fool, what do you believe in, dog? You better believe in Christ. My dad's this video when I was a little kid, like 5 years old, 4 years old, and he was saying, my dad was saying, my son, he would say, he was telling somebody that just came off of crack, off of drugs that was in our program. They're still all cracked out and all over the place. And I went up to them supposedly at like 5 and says, you believe in Jesus or the devil, fool? You know what I mean? Like, I started gangbanging like Mr. T on this guy, And the guy's probably tripping out, like, who's this little midget kid, telling me what, But my point is that, going back to what you said, is that I just love people where they're at.
Right.
So now I'm not wasting, I don't waste any more time or energy on, I'm not out front of a, abortion clinic with, this is wrong or blah, blah. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna love that person. The Bible says love is the greatest gift. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna love on people. And that's hard to do as man with pride and, So I've learned I just choose the love part. I don't argue with people. You know what I mean? The Bible says don't argue with fools. So I don't argue with people on Instagram or they want to gangbang on the internet. It's like, bro, I believe what I believe in, you believe what you, but I try to do it in a way where I show them my life and I don't just speak, I don't just post random things about this or that and then live my life like crap and treat people bad. I don't try to do that. It's like, I'm not gonna post Bible scriptures and then walk off and treat people bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to be a good example and, so. Yeah, whatever you believe in, man, you believe in, and I think it was so forced down your throat as a kid. You don't want to probably do that to your kids.
No.
Right? Like you were probably in church every Sunday, right?
Every Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday.
And look at you, man. You turned out great, and probably some of those things that your dad taught you. That's why I said it wasn't all bad.
Right.
But they sell you. Christianity sells you sometimes, and Christian, when they call you Christian, this means being Christ-like.
Right.
And that's what we all want to try to be, and that means being a good human, treating people good, loving the broken, But the reality of that, bro, is like people are sheep when they go to church. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah.
It's just like a gang. I mean, any religion, they're just teaching them I always tell people now, like, you have a relationship to God just as much as that man does that's preaching.
Right.
What makes him any different? But they put him on a stage, put some lights, it's a little bit higher, you know, usually you're looking up, bro, and like the music's perfect. You know, they work on the heartstrings, right?
Right.
I'm more into relationship, like, hey, like how you treat people. Hey, if somebody calls me at 3 a.m., me and my boy Felix, we're taking them off the streets and putting them in our house. So, I mean, that's to me the real love of God, not, you know, just because you go to church or because you sing the songs. Or I mean, I've sang many songs at church, and in my mind and heart, I'm angry and backsliding and want to go out and party right after. You know what I mean? And we did do that. See what I'm saying?
Right.
I always tell people, you know, when they write me or write my dad, sometimes like, oh, I can't believe that, you know, they know us from the past. Like, I can't believe God's blessing you, you know, after all you guys done, you Aguilars, right? And I always write back like, I usually ignore them, but I kind of write back sometimes and go, thank God you're not in charge of who gets blessed and who doesn't get blessed, because I be screwed, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, and you're right, I don't deserve it. But see, when you get to a point where we were raised where it's your works, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like the work you do is gonna get you into heaven. No, that's not true. The Bible says our works and what we do are like filthy rags. It means nothing to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's just like, be a good person.
Right.
Love people where they're at. You know what I mean? Don't judge. That's his biggest thing. So yeah, not to get off on that, but you're a church boy, so you know, because you almost feel guilty at growing up, like, oh man, I should be doing that church, I should do this, or I should read the scriptures. But I would get so bent out of shape and stressed out looking in the mirror trying to remember the scriptures and knowing that God doesn't even care about that stuff. He just cares about loving his people, loving your brother, loving your sister. I mean, it's hard enough for us to love our family members.
Right.
We can't even sit at, you know, a table at Thanksgiving together, you know, out there watching without killing each other, you know. Or, so, man, just if you can get together with your family on Thanksgiving and have a peacetime and everybody gets along, that right there is the love of God. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Not to go off on a...
No, you're good. Now, leading in what you do for a living, you have treatment centers, correct?
Yeah, I work with a partner and a few people called Melrose Recovery. And yeah, man, we help people. It's a you know, 30-day, 40-day program, and it's private insurance. So we have about 6 to 8 beds a home. We have 7 homes, and we just from LA to Orange County, and we get people in from all the different states, and we just love them, man. Just love them. Just love on them, you know what I mean? And they see a therapist and an MD. I mean, it's super professional. It's not, you know, it's not like Beans and Rice and Jesus Christ or Victory.
It's not like the home, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the homes.
Do you guys teach or instill God or religion, or is it strictly just one of those?
Well, here's the thing, bro. That's a good question. Like for me, my light should shine.
Right.
If I'm a believer and you're out there watching, you believe in God, or you believe whatever you believe in, dog. Whatever you bang.
Right.
Whatever neighborhood you're from, or whatever club you're from.
Right.
You know. I represent it to the fullest, so my light should shine. Your neighborhood, whatever you're about, should shine. Everybody should see it. So that's all we do, because if we sold them, hey, come to a Christian program, guess what? Nobody's gonna come.
Right.
Because they're already turned off by Christian or Jesus or this, because people have ruined it for us. Some lame Christians have ruined it for good people like you and me that really do love people, and we love them right where they're at. A lot of people make it like you gotta get all good and cleaned up before you come to God. He says, come just as you are, you know? So that's how we are with our program. It's like, nah, you don't have to be a Christian. We got Muslims, we got this, we got that, it doesn't matter. We're all there for one cause. We're all there to get sober and be better, you know what I mean? So we get people, and sometimes they stay for 30, 90, and man, we just see their lives fully transformed. Some make it, some don't. And the ones that don't make it usually die from fentanyl or overdose. They leave and drink or hit somebody in a car and die. So yeah, the addiction's real, man. Right now, you know, the fentanyl's killed more people than any other thing, from heart attacks or
really?
This. Yeah, fentanyl is the #1 killer in America. You know.
What is that? Is that an upper?
Yeah, fentanyl's fentanyl is like pretty much is like a. What do they use it for, Felix? The fentanyl is this. It's like a.
It's an opiate.
It's an opiate, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a downer.
Okay.
It's kind of like a heroin, a new version, but it's like 70 times more potent than heroin.
Wow.
And bro, all it takes is a little bit. I've seen people OD over just a small, you know, little taste. Yeah, they use it in the hospital. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's serious. Yeah. It's serious, bro. So, yeah, more people. They're putting it in. What they do is they put it in Xanax. They're lacing it up, like, you know what I mean? So it's coming from Mexico, wherever it comes from, and
it's almost like double the Xanax and that.
Well, yeah, they're buying off the streets. You know, they think it's like the street. You can't even buy stuff off the streets, dude. You can't trust them. They're dying. Wow. Like in Anaheim, over by my dad's area where he's from. There was like 7 or 8 people died at a motel. You know, right there that did it. So it's just killing off people. It's dangerous, and it's just the pandemic for man, the pandemic for dope and drugs are just way worse than the actual pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, it's killed more people. So I've seen so many deaths more than ever. I was raised where my dad had, 30 homes filled with, alcoholics and heroin addicts. And heroin addicts, they lived a long time, a lot of them. You know what I mean? My dad's an old heroin addict, he's 74. So it's just so much more potent and so much more gangster that fentanyl just took out Mac Miller, the rapper, and all these guys. They died from that fentanyl. So yeah, it's nothing to be messed with,
Let me ask you something. Do you when you lose, I guess, what would you call them, a patient or someone that comes
like
into
a client.
The client?
We call them family, but it's a client.
You get to know them pretty personable, or you get personal with them. So
how
I know a lot. You probably have a big turnaround, but when you lose someone, does it affect you?
Yeah, I'm not like most. Like, there's some places, bro. They met them, bet them, and forget them.
Things coming in. Hopefully, you do well.
Well, yeah, we take all your money because it pays well. This private insurance. You gotta remember, private insurance is different than the Medi-Cal, the welfare insurance. That you could have 100 guys. They're out of prison. They're sentenced to be there. They have to be there and do their, so they can get a job. And they're a little more programmed. It's a little more easier because they don't want to go back to jail. Or this is like straight. Like, they really want to be here. And they come from, bro, they start now, it used to be 18 to 25 youngsters. Now it's 40, 60, 70. I mean, bro, it's people, because since the pandemic, people lost their jobs. They're older, they're drinking. It's sad, you know what I mean? So yeah, you get close to them, you love on them. I'm not like most places where, like, they met them, bet them, forget them, bro. I really, every part of their life, I do like ministry.
Yeah.
That's why I think we have such success, is that my boy Felix and all of our people there that work there at Melrose, like, we really do love them with the heart of God,
Right.
because they're not just another number, and we see a lot of success. I could put you on the phone with hundreds of people who've done great, but then I can also take you to the grave site to many that died, and that were with us, and they leave us, and because when they're with us, they're protected 24 hours. They're, you know what I mean? So they do good there 30, 40 days, but bro, they go out back to the, I always tell people, you can't heal in the same environment you got sick in. Let me say that again.
Right.
You can't heal in the same environment you got sick in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're only sick as your secrets. So these people are holding on to secrets and things, and then my dad taught me growing up, you can't go back to your old playground and hang with your old playmates.
Right.
Yeah, remember, they do good with us. If they don't stay out here in LA with us and they stay part of the church, and because we end up, going back to what you said, we end up leading them all to Jesus.
Right.
They want what we got, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so they all, because they AA, NA, all that's great, but they need some higher power that's really gonna rock their world. These people need a transformation. They've been doing it for a while. So once they have that transformation, they're like, man, we want to be with you guys. We want to be part of the crew. Everybody wants to be part of the gang. It's been our mentality for decades. Yeah. But now we're showing them the right way, and we're just trying to get them on their feet. We help them, if they stay out here, we help them get jobs and places to live, because they move their whole lives from back wherever they're from, back east. They move out here.
So all over, literally.
Oh, they come from everywhere.
Wow.
From Hawaii, Mississippi, Boston. Nobody comes from California to our place mostly. Maybe a couple, right, Felix? But mostly they fly in. We get them.
They want to get away from.
Yeah, bro, they're gonna die where they're from. You know what I mean? So our team is super amazing, and they get them in, and it's like I always tell my crew, when you get them at the airport, it's like catching fish. You know what I mean? And we got to clean that fish. You know what I mean? It's just like when people come to somebody's church, or it's just like, they come in broken, and they're an alcoholic or something. Most of the time, people don't want to. They want to catch a fish and have them do the prayer and sign a little card to the numbers. You know the number. Victory Outreach, how they do it, bro. Just kidding. Everybody does it where they're trying to get them in salvation. Ooh, another guy got saved, but nobody. They want to catch the fish, but they don't want to clean it. As my dad taught us, So we're the type, we catch fish and we like to clean them.
Nice.
Because you know what I mean. Once you stop catching fish, you start selling bait. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of preachers do that. They're selling the gospel. They're selling it rather than being on the front line with the fishing pole catching, fish. And that's how we are. We catch fish. Sometimes it's catfish, and it's not the greatest fish, or carp or whatever. What's not the greatest carp? Good, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like the junk fish.
Yeah, we're like the bottom feeders. You know what they'll say. But to me, man, the Bible says the least on earth will be the greatest in heaven. So we work with the least. And I like the least. They don't judge me. They love me right where I'm at. They ain't quoting scriptures telling me I need to do this or that. But I don't like stay there with those people. I hang around smart people like you, and we hang around winners. Does that make sense?
Yes,
people that have success. Because my dad we've been doing ministry, and my dad for years. But you can end up starting to hang around these people, and you can end up becoming like them.
Wow, never thought about it like that.
And your spiritual ceiling and their spiritual ceilings are so low, bro, that they don't only go so high. So you're around them and you can kind of be like, well, I'm smart compared to them, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to get around I get around a different crowd. I hang out with millionaires, I hang out with poor people, and I learn from every one of them, you know?
Yeah.
So we see a lot of lives change. But yeah, it's like gold, you know, when you get them from the airport, you catch them and you don't know what you're getting, you know what I mean? They could be, a lot of them that come in are dealing with mental issues, you know what I mean? So people got to realize if you're watching out there, it's not just about getting them off drugs or getting them stopped from drinking. It goes deeper, man. It's a heart condition and it's a mental disease, you know what I mean, that they have from generational curses that need to be broken. So a lot of times we get them on family calls and, you know, reunite them with their kids. And yeah, man, we've seen a lot of people get help. And it does make money, you know what I mean? It's a business.
Right.
So we get blessed by doing that. So we just get paid now to do what we love to do.
That's awesome.
And yeah, but this is more like a medical place where you have to like really, you know, taking meds and it isn't just, hey, you want to get sober? You know how it is at Victory Outreach or Set Free. You want to get in the home, bro? All right, you need to memorize this many scriptures. That's it. And then you need to wear a three-piece suit. You know what I mean? You know, and you need to show up to church. It's not like that. It's like, you know,
this is legit.
Yeah,
business.
This is a medical, you know, necessity, and they need them, you know what I mean? Residential treatment. So my dad's day Set Free, like, oh, you're kicking, bro, from heroin or this, hey, here's a bucket, go throw up in the garage. Call me in a few days, homie. Quit your whining, my dad used to tell guys. So no, this is like, we're like, hey, Kyle. Hey, little Kyle, you okay? Hey, Kenny, that's usually their names. Or Steven. Hey, Steven, you know, you all right, buddy? You're 50 years old. Are you okay? You treat them like a kid. Yeah. But bro, they say from the moment you start using dope or drinking is like the age that you stayed. Like you're literally, some of them have the mind of a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old, you know? So it's a heavy thing. And, you know, I always say like there's a high price of getting hurt doing what we do because you're dealing with human beings. So you can help them and you can do this and they just turn around and tell you one day you're the greatest, the next day you're the worst. You know, I think I told you and your wife before, nobody ever gossips about what you've done good for them. You know what I mean?
No, that's the truth.
And that's in life, that's in work, that's in business, that's in friendships, that's in family. So over the years, I've just been trying to learn, and I'm writing a book called Take Nothing Personal.
There it is, right in the book.
Heard it here. One of my many books.
You heard it? Okay. Well, what are your other books?
I got one I'm working on called Netflix and Pills.
Okay.
It's the truth about the treatment center industry because most of the time they give them meds and they just put them in front of a TV and leave them there, you know. Nobody ever gets changed. I'm working on a book, Church Boy Turned Hurt Boy, Now I Know My Worth Boy, and it's talking about a church kid who was, you know, raised in the church, good things, to being hurt by the church, to being, you know, then knowing my worth, you know what I mean? And I found my worth and my identity in Christ, and I find my identity in who He is, not who I am, because us as the flesh, some days we're happy, some days we're sad, you know what I mean? Right. My wife calls me the brown Kanye, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's a good thing if you don't like Kanye, but I like guys like him. We're risk takers. We roll the dice, you know. My wife always says, I need a counselor just to deal with you. But it takes radical people like me and you. You're radical, you know, you're not normal. When I tell my dad about you, I go, oh yeah, I like him. He's a radical dude. He's different, you know what I mean? You got
to be different to do the kind of things we do.
Yeah, I mean, you reach a lot of people in your own world, and I see it in your family, and you know, you're an example to a lot of us. That's why I even drove this far, because I don't do podcasts every day. I get invited a lot, and I'm like,
appreciate
no thanks. But when I see somebody that I know, by just watching their life, and yeah, a lot of people lie on Instagram, but you've been told you're always transparent. You know what I mean? You ain't you're not using filters. You're you. You know, I always tell people there's no filter for the heart. You know what I mean? You can't fake that. You can't put any makeup on the heart. You know what I mean? If you got an ugly heart or you treat people bad, it shows. You know, so there's no filter yet for that. So you could see it radiates. You radiate through. Even seeing your posts and how you treat people when your wife was sick. See, I follow, you know, when she went to the hospital. I mean, you see a man that cared about his, you know, and I'm like, man, that's heavy, you know what I mean? That could be any of our wives or anybody. So we all prayed for her. And I mean,
thank you.
Just the cool community that you have, the biker community, you have a lot of respect. So, but I know that respect is not given, it's earned, you know what I mean? And I could see that you have made I was telling somebody early, they're doing business and they're trying to start a business. And I said, one thing my dad taught me, he taught me a lot of great things and a lot of bad things, but I use the good things now. And because he's a wild man, but is that to make friends, you gotta be friendly. And we come from this world, me and Felix were talking, we're like, we're always, you know, we grew up always looking for confrontation. Like we always say like, hey bro, that problem came to me. No, I stirred it up. I was looking, who knows me, bro? Like, and that's pride and ego.
Right.
Two of the men's worst thing that we have. You know what I mean? Some women have it too, but men have the pride and ego thing going. And you know who I am, Holmes? You know who you know what I mean? I was raised that way. My dad's the king of confrontation, you know? The Dennis Rodman of Christianity. You know what I mean? And in the other world, I mean, he just never backed down. You know, he always was just like, nah, this is who I am, you don't like it, kick rocks, you know? So, yeah, I've learned that, like, you know, soft word, the Bible says turn away wrath, you know what I mean? So I didn't always have a soft word. I was always the type like, hey, this guy's mad dogging us, so we got a problem. Like, we ain't causing no problems. Why you picking on us, you know? I had the little man's complex, I guess, you know what I mean? But I was a big guy. So, you know, I didn't like bullies, you know what I mean? And my dad just always taught us, like, hey, just never back down, you know what I mean? Like, stand up for what you believe in, you know? So I think you can twist that and make it, like, however you want, you know what I mean, bro?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
yeah, it's crazy, you know? How life teaches you lessons. And God will teach you lessons, and if you don't learn, you'll repeat the class.
He'll humble you.
If you're lucky, yeah.
He will humble you.
Yep.
So, you talk about your dad, the way you grew up and stuff. Let's talk about the motorcycles.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how out there that is. The Set Free Soldiers, which Set Free started as a church, right?
Yep.
And then you guys transitioned slowly into riding motorcycles. You guys reached every walk of life.
Well, yeah, my dad's an OG rider since the 70s. He's one of the,
before even all this.
Yeah, he's one of the last original like riders. You know what I mean? Some dude hit him up back in the day. It's like, I'm Orange County, Phil. You know, they told him I'm Orange County. Some youngster, and he goes, I'm Orange County since, you know, I've been repping bike. I started the biker lifestyle here. You know, so. He's been a rider forever. Him and his brothers, they were all, my Uncle Billy and Bert, they were all like they're riders, you know? They're putting it down with like, you know, I think back then there was like the Hessians and a few, you know what I mean? A few old school groups, you know what I mean? He had a group called the Sardonics, Death by Laughter or some, you know, there wasn't many Latino clubs, you know? My dad was just too wild. He couldn't really ride with anybody. He didn't listen to the rules. He wanted to get high and do heroin. They're like, hey, bro, you can't do that. You can only do meth and do this. He's like, what kind of outlaw is this? I want to do it all, you know. So he never took orders good. So yeah, but yeah, he was always a rider. You know what I mean? Loved bikes and loved the culture. And when he got out of prison in the early 70s and gave his life to the Lord, to God. You know, everybody finds Jesus in there, you know. He lives in there, I think. But, you know, he really meant business and, you know, worked a few jobs to take care of us and the kids. But they told him when he gave his life to God, you can't ride. Bikes are of the devil, you know. And Christians are, they're weird. And so he found out and read the scriptures that tattoos ain't, you know, bad or this ain't, you know, he wasn't tripping. So he started riding his bike again and he got him and this guy, a friend of mine, who was like a mentor of mine named, we called him Biker James, but he was like the first guy to like bring a bike and like kind of ride, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he got my dad and all my dad's brothers. They started riding. They started a group called Christ's Sons. Okay. And they're back around now, like 40 years later or something.
Oh, they're back.
Yeah, they're back. I think. I mean, I'm not involved with the bikers politics or the Christian bikers, but I heard they're back. My dad kind of like, you know, and so they started that, and then years later they went to a thing called Servants for Christ. Okay. And they're still around, I think, here in like the Inland Empire. Ukaipa and stuff, you know? So yeah, they did that. And then after a while, like my dad started this group, probably like early 2000s called the Set Free Soldiers. And that was just a handpicked group of people, you know, most of us were all blood brothers and then some of our partners. And most of us weren't even riders. Like we grew up like around bikes our whole life. My dad always had, you know, hundreds of bikers at his church and every outlaw, in-law, he had everything there. Yeah. And he did the weddings and funerals for all the clubs, and you know he was just always in the mix. But he always had his own thing, you know. It's about Christ. And after early 2000s, you're just kind of burned out, man, doing ministry and music, and kind of just getting tired of being, just trying to help everybody.
Right.
And we just started. I mean, it was supposed to be something positive, but it didn't. We were young. Right. You gotta remember, bro. We were young in the church. My dad had in the early 90s and 80s, he had a 7,000 member church of all creeping, crawling things, two of every kind, no arc type thing. Right. I mean, bro, you ask real bikers who started clubs or been around or real gang members, I mean, they went to Set Free. Mm-hmm. If you lived in Southern California in 1980s and early 90s, you went to Set Free. Mm-hmm. If you were a gang member, you were Pelican Bay at one time, you were a drug addict, you were an outlaw, you went there. Yeah. to find God, to know God, to meet a girl, whatever you went there for, you went there. You know what I mean? That's where guys think they find the best girls at. They don't know they're the worst sometimes. So my dad had his own little cult there, you know what I mean? And so through that, he was always writing and stuff. But over the time, to fast forward, is too much to get into. He started a group as we kind of like stopped doing church. I mean, he was still helping people, but we bought a nightclub, like a bar in Costa Mesa. And we're like, man, we don't even want to do church no more. He was doing church at a bar.
Wow.
He was up there, he started having a little drink, you know what I mean? He started drinking a little bit, you know, and he'd been against that for years. No drinking, no violence. He was but you gotta remember, over the years, we had seen so many people in our minds talk bad about our dad, disrespect our family. It was never about club stuff or this or that. It was always about like, that's our dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like your kids, if somebody hears, and my dad was definitely caused a lot of trouble. So churches and Calvary Chapel and Victory Outreach, all these people, you know, it's not they're cool people, but you know, they didn't like some things he was doing or acting during those times. So my dad's the type where he just was like, kind of became a rebel and kind of became, you know, his own little, you know, Dennis Rodman of Christianity. Don't want to play with you guys either, and I'm gonna take my ball and run, you know.
Right.
So he pretty much told 7,000 people in 1992 or 3, somewhere around there, like, hey, F off, like, kick rocks. I'm not your daddy no more.
How did the people accept that?
Well, they were pissed. Yeah. I mean, my dad's the type, like, you know, most pastors get fired. He didn't get fired. He just quit.
He's like, later.
Yeah, he's later. And you got to remember, these are people that are from broken homes, abused homes. I mean, but he had a millionaire sitting next to an outlaw biker.
Wow.
An outlaw biker sitting next to a guy who worked at Hillwood Packard or computer company at the time, you know, sitting next to a homeless guy. So it was groundbreaking. Nobody's ever done it like us. I don't care, bro. I got the videos. We got to prove it.
Right.
A lot of dudes like to run their mouths and say they did stuff first, bro. If you trace back the history, Pops has the video. That's why I tell people, don't say you did it first, because he'll put in a video cassette. He still has a player too, like to put it in. And you're like, oh, really? You started that? I think I did. Boom, and hit the button. Or, oh, you had the first this? I think I did. I mean, we had Tony Hawk there, skateboard ramps.
Wow.
The Los Angeles Rams at the time in the 80s were there. They would come and get off drugs at the church.
Yeah.
And we sucked at that time, the Rams, like Jim Everett and all those guys. Remember that?
Jim Everett.
But they'd be coming there to get off dope and stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody from the leaders of whatever gang or this, bro, they all lived in our house. Yeah. You know what I mean? Leaders of whatever, the outlaws, leader of the Mexican, didn't matter, bro. They lived in our house. Like it's like growing up at 8 or 9 years old, you're like, you know, in there with a dude, you know, 25-year Pelican Bay dude, that's your bunkie. He's like, hey, bro, hey, pass the stash, bro, pass, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's how we were raised. So we were never, my dad always put us around these people, and people used to say, like, are you afraid of what they're gonna do to your kids? My dad's like, no, I'm afraid of what my crazy kids are gonna do to them. You know what I mean? So we kind of had to get tough real fast.
Right.
And when you're raised around a guy who who's calling shots just a few months ago at Folsom or Pelican Bay, he was in charge of the brown card or the white card, or white power dudes. You know, those are your roommates, and they just become your roommate. You don't look at them like anything this or that. We're like, hey, bro, come play catch with me. Or, you know, you get them down back to them being a kid again,
right.
smiling, and you see their lives transform.
Yep.
And you know that only God can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but when you're raised around those guys and ex-murderers and this, like, you just kind of take on this, like, you're not afraid of nobody. And they're telling you their stories. Hey, man, always back your dad up. Don't ever let nobody push him around. And so we took that stuff over the years, you know what I mean? And that's hard because you're trying to be holy. And I always tell people I'm half holy, half hood. So when we got old enough, my point of it all is that my dad had kids that were older, and we kind of grew and got bigger.
Yeah.
So we're like, we ain't gonna let nobody talk about my dad or disrespect him no more. And remember, he didn't sit us down and go, hey kids, I kind of was an a-hole, and I was a jerk too, and I stirred up these fights or this drama. I told he didn't really tell us that. He was just like, you know, my dad always say my dad's like the me against the world before Tupac, me against the world. That was my dad. So we just kind of roll with them, the gang mentality, you know, like, hey, that's Pops, and we roll with them because he was cooler than any of our friends. All of our friends wanted to hang with him. My dad was a cool guy.
Yeah.
Very ahead of his time, you know?
I was just gonna ask that. It seems like he was before his time.
Oh, way ahead, bro. He was doing stuff that they do now, that churches do now, and clubs do now, and this. I mean, from everything from his bikes to I used to wear a choker. I clown him. That choker's whack, dude. But that was kind of weird. But he's like, you know, he thought, but he was that guy. You know what I mean, bro? Even back to
he didn't care.
No, he go back to his hippie days. He was the guy who would, you know, he messed up the parties. He was the guy who was like wearing. He was a flower child, so he was wearing like a purse, hoping somebody would tell him something so he can beat him up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so he just always been different.
Yeah.
He's never fit into on a team, you know? And so I think dealing with that, never, you know, fitting in on a team, he made his own team, which was Set Free. And it was his gang and it was our gang. That was like our thing. So as we got older, fast forward, we started riding with him because a lot of brothers and people that were supposed to be his brothers, I felt like they didn't really have his back. Like all these biker guys who he would roll with, they would roll with them, but they're like kind of cheesy. And we were like youngsters, and we were like hanging around friends. Like we were in this Temple Street area of LA. It was like some of my homies are still there, but like they taught us the street life, and we were like 15, 16, and bro, like you're like, dang, like this is intense. You're getting shot at, all this stuff. So you're learning real fast. We were doing ministry there at this place called the Dream Center that my dad started. But while my dad was doing ministry, we were doing gang stuff, right? We were trying to be like the homies, you know what I mean? Wear the big Ben Davis, big old 50s and the, wearing the Cortez, you know what I mean? And we were supposed to be in church, right? My dad, like, get your butt in church. I'd be in front of the homies and like trying to be cool with my homies, and he'd be like, hey, chill, get on stage and sing. And I'd be like, I can't sing. I'm not, this is whack, bro. I gotta look cool. He would embarrass me, bro. But it was like, I mean, he loved us. He wanted us to. Right. But he could see we were going kind of, that route. And, we always rolled with him, but they had taught us a lot of the mentality of like, hey, don't ever back down to nobody. No matter how big or small, you always defend your father and your family. So we took all that. I don't want to say it was bad advice, but you know what I mean? There's good things to it, but if you're about Christ and you're about God, all that stuff don't matter. But we were so infatuated with the lifestyle and being raised, and so as we got older, we took that into the Every Soldiers, right? We did. And my dad got definitely more gangster. He likes to say, no, I wasn't. I was nice and still serving Jesus. And I'm like, Dad, you were
This is the Christian club.
Yeah, I said, Dad, you're 60 years old, benching 350 pounds, you know what I mean? Walking around like a madman, you know what I mean? Did you see how you look, And anybody who told him something, he'd be like, hey, whatever, I run Orange County. So he was just, when you start spiraling out of control, right? And if you don't have good people around you telling you and love the truth, love without truth is compromise, right? So nobody's gonna question my dad. You know what I mean? If you do, you're out. Right. So you gotta remember, none of us were gonna tell him, hey, you need to chill out, Pops, because we liked it.
It was something different.
Well, yeah, we're like, dude, we don't have to seat people at church. We don't have to get up there and sing no more. We don't have to, you know what I mean, be nice to people after they talk crap about us, you know what I mean? We don't have to give this homeless guy another chance after he stole our Nintendo, you know what I mean?
Another junkie didn't steal your bed.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I mean, I was raised we were getting robbed all this. I mean, it was very dysfunctional, but we helped a lot of people. But at what cost? Like my dad would help everybody, but at the same time as my daughter was getting on meth, my sister was getting on meth, his daughter, my family just started being, you know what I mean? He worked so much on helping others, he forgot about kind of his own. So our only way to hang with him and hang out with him was to ride with him. So we didn't really care about the bikes, and we love bikes now, but it was like we thought the bike thing was weird because we were from like hanging around the neighborhood in cholos, like it was kind of like everything was on site. Right. Like if you saw an enemy, you got on site, you got them up. You know what I mean? You threw those. The biker world, where we at that time was like, it was a little bit of a drum roll. You know what I mean, bro? Like I can't beat that guy up because we work at the same gym, and I was like, okay, I get, you know what I mean? So my dad was like the king of like he show up and there'd be like a drum roll. I'm like, hey, those guys don't like this. They don't like this. I'm like, cool, let's go. I'm gonna go punch him. And my dad was like, oh no, bro, we don't do that here. You just give the mad dog. You know what I mean? You just
let him know I'm here.
You rev your bike. I'm like, rev your bike. You know what I mean? So we took that wild youngster. We're just young and dumb, right, full of rum. You know what I mean? And Pops would just be like, somebody talk bad about him, and I just go over there and confront the dude and like, hey, you talk bad about my dad? Nah. Boom, and hit him, and then from then on, you get the taste of blood in your mouth, and you start becoming violent. And from then on, bro, we just started becoming like I don't call it an outlaw club because I'm not gonna. A lot of dudes put blood, sweat, and tears into that lifestyle and to wear that patch and all that. So people go, oh, you're like an outlaw club? I'm like, nah, that's their thing. They have their trip. We have our own. Like we're all blood brothers. A lot of us, and we're family. You know what I mean? We're all like we all grew up together, or we're helping people. It was more like a lot of dudes paid dues to have to wear that patch and to call themselves outlaws. So I never liked that for us because I'm like, nah, we're not. We're just family, you know what I mean? Like we wear a patch and stuff, but like I'm gonna die for my brother because my brother with or without a patch. Does that make sense?
Yes,
like a patch don't make me, I make the patch. So I was always like, even if we rolled without a patch, people knew who we were. Orange County, we definitely had it unlocked at that time because we helped so many people. And remember, the people we helped, again, they weren't, most of our, growing up, I told my dad recently, do you realize most of our heroes were on the Fed list? You know what I mean? That's kind of weird. You know what I mean, bro? But that was our culture. Right. And those are the people that my dad helped. But bro, you can't walk the line.
It's funny you said that because growing up, we lived the same way, right? And we had homes in our home as well. So we had drug addicts, rapists, freaking guys, murderers in prison. We lived on a ranch. I used to play catch, like you're saying, with these dudes. At that time, I just thought they were. Uncle. I got to play with a bunch of dudes that That sounds odd. That sounds wrong.
Yeah, don't say play with dudes these days.
I got you.
Bro, we'll talk about that after. Are you okay? Is that why you work out so much, bro? We can get to the root of this while you're so yoked up and angry. Yeah, let that out, bro.
You know, I can play catch at call. Let's play catch. Okay. And they're like, okay. Like, they had to cater to me. But I didn't know what was going on.
They were your manservants.
Yeah, like, in a sense, you know what I mean? But I didn't know who they were. Like, I didn't know they were killers. I just know they were not good people living in my home, and my dad was helping them. You know, it was crazy, dude. Now I'm looking back
so
and I'm
you get
like,
it, yeah. You got the trauma, bro. You can talk to your wife after about that. PTSD.
Yeah, I'm jacked up.
I'm gonna start a program for angry preachers kids, bro. APK, bro. Let's do it. They really need help. That's why I tell people, I'm like, oh no, we're twisted more than anybody, bro. We've seen it all. And that's the thing about it is that like you said, like, to us, they were just Uncle Charlie or Uncle whoever's. You know what I mean? They became like our family.
Right.
More than your own family. You're with them more on Christmas than you are with your own blood.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's almost like you have this dysfunctional becomes normalcy, right? Mm-hmm. So your dad, he's doing the right thing. My dad was doing the right thing at times, but the right thing, you know, is sometimes when you're putting your kids in that, you have no choice but to grow up, bro. I'm like, 6 or 7 years old, and there's an ex-murderer in your, in a room with you, or a heroin addict. It's creepy, it's scary, you know what I mean? Right. But you don't look at them like that because you're supposed to love them where they're at and they don't judge. So it was just normal, you know what I mean? It's just play catch with them. Yeah, my dad was a gangster though. He's different than Victor Irish. They had a lot more rules. My dad be waking everybody up at 1 a.m. That's why they probably call us the cult. He'd be like, hey, get out here, my kids, they're gonna play basketball against you, you know what I mean? Or get up, my kids want you to, so he just, and so they became, but bro, everybody's looking for a family. Right. That's why I tell people, like, no matter what they say, like, those dudes at your dad's place at the time, their lives will never be the same if they took what they learned there, the good stuff. Because there's always a bunch of garbage you learn at places, whether at a job, and there's always gonna be something negative. But if you take the one or two negative things out of your life, it's mostly positive. There's good stuff. Right. There's really people probably getting help. Your dad was probably doing the right thing, you know what I mean? Right. My dad's heart was in the right place, but his actions and his motives and being a man of the flesh and pride makes you do dumb stuff. You know what I mean, bro? Yeah. We do a lot of dumb stuff off of that. So, yeah, it's definitely, I would never change the way I lived, right? Yeah. It's crazy. When I tell people the story, they're like, oh, you're lying. I'm like, bro, I wish I was. Like,
you know what's crazy? I know this story because I remember reading about it, when we'll get into that, when all that went down. The fight
fast forwarding,
yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear it through you. I remember, me and Maya were together. I remember, oh my God, these dudes. I go, the Christian Motorcycle Club got in a fight with this outlaw club. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I mean, that was an unfortunate situation. You know what I mean, bro? Like, should have never happened, but it happened, and like, we always, I don't talk about it too much, you know what I mean? It's in the past, a long time ago, but yeah, man, just, my dad used to say we're at the wrong place at the wrong time, but we would know where we were at. We know what we're doing. Pride is just a terrible thing. And, a lot of these people the stuff that happened with them, like we knew these guys, you know what I mean? My dad had like helped them and done weddings, and there was never really nothing really big behind it, but pride and ego, man, like I said, it'll jack you up, and it just is an unfortunate situation, and just nothing good came out of it, you know what I mean? We got guys who did a lot of time behind it. Everybody in the whole family we were part of the biggest raid in Orange County history. Wow. We were called the most violent gang in Orange County, and I'm like, I know some violent gangs, not us, but
we're Christians.
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't really play that card because we already knew that nobody's gonna believe us when we say we're Christians.
After the fact.
Yeah, like in that time we weren't claiming to be Christians. I wasn't. My dad was, and he's a good Christian man, but he was a leader. You know what I mean? He knew, like, and bro, you gotta remember. At that time, like there was a show called there was a company called A&E. They're still around. This is before Sons of Anarchy, all this stuff. So we had a full deal with them. Wow. They're filming our lives at that time.
Oh, they were filming.
Bro, we had a deal. We had the same people who did Dog the Bounty Hunter. Mm-hmm. We were gonna take Dog the Bounty Hunter's spot because he had gotten in trouble for making racial comments or whatever, allegedly, right? Right. And so they're filming our life, like church and us rioting and fighting, and you know what I mean? Like what we did every day, you know what I mean? Right. Dealing with crazy addicts in our program, dragging them out because they're on meth and want to kill somebody there. So they're filming our life, and of course it was more like and we had these bikes, we had Dynas at the time, you know what I mean? And they're super fast with, you know what I mean? We had like the fastest bikes around, and we rode everywhere. I mean, we really rode, bro. We didn't like just hang out somewhere. We like rode. My dad like, hey, we're going to Frisco. Okay, go to Frisco. Bam, go here. And we got along with everybody. My dad was like, try to be a peacemaker with everybody, but you just can't walk that line. You got to choose. I don't care what anybody says out there. You're going to have to choose. whether it's in the gang world, whether it's the outlaw world, eventually you're gonna have to choose. You can't support everybody, you know what I mean?
Right.
You only can wear so much support gear, you know? So my point is that's why, you know, you just start trying to be nice and hang with everybody, but it just doesn't work that way. And it was just, we just walked the line, and you end up falling into everything that, you know, you don't want to really do, but you end up doing. And a lot of us at that time, we didn't care. We're like, yeah, I don't care if I die. I don't care if I'm down for the club. I'm down for this and that. I mean, just you believe the lies. You know what I mean, bro? We believed our own hype and our own lies. A&E was doing a show on us, so we're like getting bigger. We're recruiting more. And, you know, and for our club, you know, we had rules and stuff, but I mean, it was like a 2-year prospecting.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't let you in unless you were rich.
You had to.
If you were rich, my dad would take you in. Yeah, oh heck yeah. You could be bought, bro. Yeah, I mean, my dad let a few dudes in that should never got in, but my dad's that guy, you know, he's cool. Like, oh yeah, cool, give me a Mercedes. All right, bro, you know, because at that time, bro, like when people say like, oh, you guys should have been doing ministry, you should have been passing out Bibles, you would never been in that spot, you should have been feeding the homeless, and I'm like, you're right, we should have, but we weren't. So we make I don't make no excuses for that time.
Right.
Some people may or say whatever, but I got, you know, good brothers were locked up behind that and did a lot of time.
Wow.
You know what I mean? For defending themselves, you know?
Right.
And I don't care what anybody says, it's your dad. You know what I mean? Like that was our dad, and people you know, that was their pastor. That was the person they loved. So, I mean, the politics or what the news media, the lies they hype up, it was all a bunch of lies. The media just hyped up. Bro, what happened was like, and I'm not gonna get into detail about the other side, but, but bro, what happened was that, like, they've been investigating us for 3 years.
Wow.
So
obviously you guys didn't know that.
No, but I mean, bro, there's a barroom fight, right? And somebody allegedly got stabbed, right? Why didn't they arrest us all there? I mean, why did they let us go? Because they're working on something bigger. And they're investigating us, the DEA and the Anaheim PD, for 3 years because they seen us with all these people and different. Look, my dad just didn't hang out with a club member, right? Just a member. Pops was hanging with the leaders. Because leaders hang with leaders, you know what I mean? They want to be around that. And so my dad had a lot of respect from the leaders. They respected him not because he was some gangster or this or that. No, they respect him because he really was part of the biker culture, starting it.
He lived that life.
He lived that life. And they respected him because, bro, he helped get a lot of their brothers off of drugs. And so they could be good members. Because you're not a good member, bro, if you're on dope or you're doing this or you're cheating or like. So he helped a lot of dudes.
He was respected in more than just one way. Like, as a biker,
bro,
as a man who helped hurt people.
Yeah, bro, exactly. They always, bro, the feds and all these guys, when they played back conversations with my dad, with leaders of these, you know, clubs or Mexican gangs, bro, they're always about Christ. Pops always talked about Christ. Even if we were talking bad, we were doing bad, because the youngsters were doing bad. You know, I mean, we weren't selling dope or anything, but we were living. We were in bars, we were fighting, we were doing, you know, it was just active, a normal Friday night. You go to a bar down the street, there's probably a bunch of fist fights and stabbings. I mean, you know, at places. So my point is that Pops was like, he was helping these guys, he was. But what happens, you start falling in love with that lifestyle and that culture, and then we're going to their parties, and they're seeing us in pictures, and the feds are like, oh, they're hanging around them. I mean, that's why I tell people, you know, watch out for, you know, big brother, cousin Rico, you know what I mean? Because he's in every club, he's in every gang, you know what I mean? And Uncle Rico's looking for, you know what I mean? Rico changed the whole game, you know what I mean? So realizing that my dad didn't know he was the target of their investigation, and bro, they wanted my dad more than anybody. Wow. Like, they've been wanting him for years though in Orange County. Since the old days when he did good things, they felt like he had changed, and they felt like, okay, now he has so much power, because in Orange County, bro, if you came to Orange County in the 2000s, you know what I mean, 2002 to like 2008, bro, our merchandise, our gear, everybody was wearing it, you know what I mean? Supporters, stickers, I mean, we were the kings of. Before everybody, excuse me, now bikers all do the videos, right, with music. Right. Bro, back in the days you couldn't do that. That was like, you weren't part of the culture, right? You weren't cool. But we never claimed to be that. You don't look at any of our stuff, we never talk about being outlaws. People put that label on us, but we didn't say that. We were just a brotherhood, we were a family, you know what I mean? We always like riding together, that's our dad. But bro, we're the first to do YouTube videos. Wow. Look at the number, look at the years. Like, look at now, every club, this club, that club, you know, whatever's, all different backgrounds. They're all doing music videos, writing, the drone shot. Bro, when we did that, we were like, hey man, you guys can't do that. And my dad said, oh no, I'm not about that lifestyle, I'm about my own lifestyle. I create my own rules, and this is we control the narrative, right? Wow. So bro, we have music and Metallica. Bro, look at the video, look at the dates. Look at the dates, 2002, 2003, 2004. There was no clubs doing that. Not even talking about outlaw clubs, just any clubs. Yeah, because they didn't want to like let anybody see like the inside, or you know what I mean? It was all private, you know, like the mafia. But Pops didn't care. He's flamboyant. He's like, yeah, film us. Let's do it. So we put together our own videos. And bro, if you see, we're just riding, enjoying. There's nothing like riding with your brother.
Right,
that's what I miss more than anything. Is just the ride. And of course, as youngsters, are like, you're whack. This is weak.
Yeah.
We need to, this is, there's gonna be payback. We have to be. We have to defend ourselves. And my dad was like, nah, man. I try to teach you guys, put your hands in your pocket and let God fight your battles. Because he kind of had that motto for most of the years. My dad was always the type like, he could be surrounded by like, dude, I see him surrounded by like the worst of the worst.
Right.
And he could talk his way out of it.
Wow.
He was good because he always said, oh, God's with us. And he'd always push us all away. Hey, you guys go stand over there. He never liked dudes in the mix because he felt like one dude mouths off to another guy and it's on and cracking.
Yeah.
So he was just good at like getting stuff like settled.
Right.
And he was an OG, so a lot of dudes had respect for him. They're like, oh, he's a good dude. He helped my brother get off of drugs. So helped my mother, with groceries. But yeah, my dad pretty much at that time in that bar when that happened, there was a guy who wasn't even part of our club who shot off his mouth. And that's what started the whole.
Wow.
And it's bad. So,
a lot of stories like that of someone that not even part of anything says something, and then these two people end up going at it, and that dude's like just walking away who has nothing.
Oh yeah, the guy who did it, we believe that he was planted. We never seen him again, bro. His name was Big Bob. Big Bob, if you're watching, not the good Big Bob. No, he's a white Big Bob, and he ain't big and buff like you. He was just big.
He was big.
But this dude's a lot. It was a lot, bro.
Yeah.
He started it. My dad was having a conversation with these other guys, and that dude just runs his mouth. And
Wow.
Whatever happened for a reason to get our attention. And man, we have no ill will towards anybody. We get along with everybody now, but man, it's just we were just out of control, out of our minds, pride, and we had told my dad, we're like, oh no, man, this is it, this is our time, we're gonna be big, blah blah, or we need to join another, a bigger organization, we roll with them and we'll be solid, He's like, nah, we're all about Christ. We're all gonna go back to the way to church, and I'm like, dude, you're lame, that's weak, bro. You know what I mean? Like, us youngsters were stupid. You know what I mean? So basically after that, bro, like they went to court and a bunch of stuff. Nothing ever, it was all lame stuff, just a waste of money, tax dollars. My dad ended up, they just took all our bikes and cars. They broke us, basically broke. We were broke, and then they were pissed because the NIPD didn't find nothing that was substantial that could put them away forever. They were saying, and it's crazy because they're doing a documentary on my dad's life right now. Like we're meeting with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. We're meeting with all these big people, right?
That's awesome.
And it's all about our life, the Aguilars, right? I guess people were like the circus. I guess they want to see us, But I always tell people if they're smart, it's a testimony of what not to do and what not to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this is what happens if you follow our life, then be prepared for the scars and the things that are going to come with it. If not, play it safe, be kind. You know what I mean? But so it shows my dad. My dad's 74 now, but it shows him in like from that guy to who he is now, and he's like night and day. The guy's, you guys, Felix. The guy's like, very loving, but he's been through a lot of crap.
Right.
He's been, you know what I mean? And he realized once you have Uncle Rico, trying to put you away forever, bro, I don't care how tough you are, how bad you are, dude, you don't want to, spending the rest of your life in prison, you better be down for the cause. Because the reality is that once we got a taste of that, and a lot of us thought we were down, we're like, oh, you ain't gonna send my dad to jail, we'll take the time for him, right? I'll do a stand on my head. How foolish do we sound? But when you're young, and you're broken and you're hurt, boy, right? You don't know your worth, so that's all you think you're good for. And I found the love from my dad and attention I always wanted from him when I was in the club. Because that's my son, he'd be like, my son, he don't forgive, he's like me, right? Like that's used to tell me like, oh yeah, that's dope, because that's the only identity label that I had that he put on me, because I felt close to him when we rode with him, because that's what he liked to do. So, but I don't think he thought it was gonna get out of control, of course. And once he got it out of control, he knew, hey, it's time to, because remember, if you're the guy that they want to put in prison for the rest of your life, bro, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like they would have let everybody go and just take him. They were trying to make deals with us and my brother-in-law and brother to rat out my dad and then like just take him. And so on this documentary, the cops are on there, the dude who did the head of the captain, right? And he's on there saying, till this day he still says, and he's sitting in front of the tank that rode up on our yard. Dudes are massive tanks. He says, Phil Aguilar's a con man. He should still be in jail for the rest of his life right now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, NIPD, we love you. We're all about love and peace. You know what I mean? But and bro, did they stereotype us? For sure. Did they put a label on us? Yeah. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah.
Like, they could have just come talk to us and be like, hey, are you guys about this? I'm like, nah, bro, we're not about that life. But if that wouldn't happen, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now doing this interview.
Right.
So I think about that every day. Me and Felix, my homie, talk about it. Like, man, if God didn't intervene, and it sucked the way that he did it.
Right.
I mean, bro, you gotta imagine your wife and family being dragged through the mud and put in a wagon. You know, you seeing your mom, you know what I mean, in a wagon, bro. It's not cool. Seeing your dad brought, it was bad.
Right.
I wouldn't wish that on any of my enemies to be rated like that. It's just not. I don't care what anybody says. You can act like the toughest guy, but if you got kids or you got something you care about, it don't feel good. And I came out with a bad attitude, and I was angry and depressed, and like, because you gotta imagine they took the club it was over. This thing that we were doing for 8 years straight, every day, debauchery, riding hard, partying, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Running Orange County was gone.
Wow.
Just like that. Pride comes before fall, the Bible says. You know what I mean? Man, we fell. And I like to say we didn't fall from grace, we fell to grace because God is grace. But at the time, yeah, we didn't understand it. You know, we were pissed and so we just end up, moving on, and, family kind of like, went through their hard times together. And, when you're all poor and kind of looking at each other, you're like, dang, like, what are we gonna do now? Nobody wanted to come to church because they're scared. And what are we gonna do about this? Is there gonna be, this? And it was all over the news, and you're just like, oh man, this is bad. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like good press.
Would it feel like it was never gonna get fixed? It was people weren't gonna believe you guys again, and people weren't gonna come around again? And
yeah, I think we were just so broke. We were just so like, damn, can't believe that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, in your whole life.
You turned into the people you were helping.
100.
Yeah.
100. We became you attract what you respect. So, I mean, my dad, he has his version, I have mine. Mine was like, yeah, we were looking, I didn't care about my life, so I didn't care if I died. I was down to die for the cause. There was no question. Anybody will tell you that knows me, if you're watching, I was down for the cause.
Right.
It takes an idiot to die for something. It takes a real man, a real woman to live for something. But I didn't understand that, dog, because I was hurt. I was a hurt kid. I was like trying to earn the father's love, right? Daddy issues. Right. Because my dad was helping everybody else. We were so good at blaming, not taking responsibility for ourselves. Now I take responsibility for myself, you know what I mean, bro? And believe me, I have respect for everybody who rides and does all that, but now we just like to ride and have fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't have to hold up a wall no more, and I don't have to tell anybody what I've done. The history's all there. Right. My family, no matter what they say, like, we lived that life, good and bad. You know what I mean? Like, we did get them up, you know what I mean? We didn't run, so I mean, it's easy to say like, oh, F them, or I'll do this if I see them, bro. The reality, when you're presented with that confrontation and stuff goes down, you see what you're made of. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that was our dad. You know what I mean? And hopefully, if I saw somebody messing with a grandpa outside right now, I would go back up the grandpa. That's still in me, but I don't wear a patch. I don't. My dad, he wears a patch that just says Jesus is Lord, and there's only one member, himself. You know why he does that? Because he don't have to be responsible if some stupid idiot, starts a fight with somebody at a bar, and then they try to take the leaders, and they've been doing that for decades. They try to take the leaders out of the homes, you know what I mean? Right. They try to take fathers like me and you out of the homes, and you know what I mean, put us in jail for the rest of our life. That's what they want. That's what society does now, and we're breaking the curse, the generational curse. Right. Your dad broke it with probably his own family and did ministry. We just fell back in. Yeah, man. My dad went from bad to good to bad. You know what I mean? And we followed. Right. And it was our dad. He's my hero. He's still my hero. But now he's redeemed himself, and he's teaching me more the right way, and he's teaching me how to love and forgive. Back in the days, it was like, bro, you're either for me or against me, like the Bible talks about. He used all the scripture, you know what I mean? You're born for the day of adversity, you could die for your brother. I'm like, oh, that's us, bro. We gotta die. I gotta die for my brother, And you're just foolish. I remember the first years of marriage, first years of my daughter, I wasn't even around, you know what I mean? I was just writing, you know what I mean? And about that life, and it was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that's why I tell people, man, like, save your stories, that you're a bad dude or you're a tough guy. The real tough guys and the real badasses are doing, 23-hour lockdown shoe program, you know what I mean? Right. They never getting out, you know what I mean? And I know those guys, and my boy Felix knows those guys. So when dudes act tough or they act this way, I always just laugh, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, when I see guys in clubs or in gangs that I used to know that were, like, they were like my homies, you know what I mean? Like, we taught them how to ride. Yeah. And they're acting, they see me like, what's up, bro? It's like, dude, you know what I mean? Stop it, come on. Like, you know what I mean, bro? We used to play, we were homies, you know what I mean? Right. But I don't get involved with the biker politics. I don't know what's going on. I don't care what's going on. I just like dudes who ride. I like guys like you, independents, and like you got friends. See, we can't help people if we're just picking a side.
Right.
And my dad learned that, like, hey, I want to get along with everybody. But you end up hanging out with people who give you a little more love. Does that make sense? Like at the time, there was a certain group that just gave us more love and respect. So we're like, hey, these are our boys, and we have family in there. My dad had cousins in that club. So it was just normal, but it wasn't our alliance. It wasn't with them. We were our own. And my dad always told people like, hey, we have nothing against anybody, but we're there wasn't room for Pops to be under any club, dude.
Doesn't sound like he would.
Yeah, anyway. No, he would have listened. He'd be a terrible patch member in a club, or having a chapter.
Yeah.
We'll give you your own chapter. I heard guys would tell him that, and he'd be like, "Oh no, I'd be a terrible under your guy. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't pay my dues. I want to collect dues." Yeah, my dad was the type. He collected his own dues. Like, no, y'all pay. Like our whole club was built around my dad.
Wow.
Not the patch. People think he was on the patch and looked like him. Nah, that was just graphics. No, bro, it was based around, if there wasn't no patches and we just wore rings, we would have done that. It was just, we wanted to be close to our dad.
Right.
And this is now our time, and we did it. And I have no regrets other than for my daughter, and my wife.
Yeah.
I treated them, very bad. I wasn't a good husband. And so a lot of years of depression and drama over those, remember, it's hard to adapt to a new lifestyle.
Right.
And it took a lot of years. Bro, you miss the brotherhood, if anything. You miss the riding with your brothers. You miss the hanging out. I get it. I respect dudes in clubs and stuff. There's a certain thing where you're like, wow, there's something that you can't explain. You know how it is, riding with people. But I just learned that it's not worth it. The Bible says, what good is it to gain the whole world but lose your own soul? And we gained a lot, and we definitely lost our own soul and lost our way. But bro, like, God's a God of many chances, and He let us get back on the horse again, and now we just ride for the Lord. And I'm so busy, I don't even have time to really ride. And I'm older now, so your body just doesn't, my dad rode so much, bro, like that it was just every day we rode. You never took your car, you're just always on a bike or on a run or on a, like I said, bro, we ride out here all the time, through the Hesperia and all that, what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd be at runs where you're out there 100 and something degrees with your leather on. You're like, what are we doing out here? But what's cool about my dad though was this. My dad liked to party. So my dad liked air conditioning, and he liked Vegas, and he liked, he liked places where he didn't want to go hold up a wall.
Right.
I will give to Pops. He was the ultimate, my dad loves, Felix will tell you, he still does. He still has 200 people come to his house every weekend.
Wow.
Throwing parties. But now these parties definitely are sober. There's no, you know what I mean? Because we had guys in the club at that time, they were drinking and partying. We just turned into everything, like you said, that we didn't want to be. But we were so at a point where we're just like, tell me I can't do that, right? Test me, homie. Like, you ain't gonna push us around no more. We ain't these church kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was definitely like that type of ego and pride. And I don't blame my dad. I don't blame nobody. I take responsibility now for myself. Everything that happened, it was a result of our actions. I could have stopped and said, nah, man, I'm not that guy. But we want to be a part of something so bad. People who join stuff, they want to be an army or whatever. They all just want this brotherhood. They all want to be these addicts. They all just want to be part of a family. And it's on us, bro, to control the narrative of what they're going to be. And we can teach them hey, my dad's good, bro. He can get a group right now, recruit 50 guys and make a club. But he don't want to do that because he doesn't want to be responsible for them. And he doesn't want to, he knows, me and my dad know. We get guys all the time, bro, you should ride with us, you should put this patch on, you should do this. I always tell these guys, bro, I would ruin your club. You know what I mean? I would ruin your gang because I want to make it to the top fat. I want to be the leader. My dad wants to be the leader. There's not enough air in the room for both of me and my dad at the same time. But we would mess it up because for me, bro, it's like when you put on it's like going back to the old days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's becoming everything that I hated, right?
Yeah.
But I love to ride now.
Right.
I ride solo with my boy Lou. We go on rides, go to Starbucks. You know what I mean? It's weird what it feels like not to be normal.
No, that's normal, yeah.
And you don't have to watch your back. You ain't got to worry about oh, bro, what city? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad just never followed the rules. Somebody told him don't do it. He'd be like, oh, you can't wear this? Okay, I'm gonna do it. And that type of attitude gets you nothing but in trouble, you know what I mean? So I tell these young guys, pay your taxes, you know what I mean, bro? Do your time like a good inmate, follow the leader, because they I want to be like your dad. I'm like, oh, dude, be like my dad in the way of loving, forgiving, but you don't want to be like him. And you got to remember, the only reason why he got away with a lot of stuff he got away with, bro, is because he's an OG. And he had the respect from high up dudes who are beyond the world of whatever's, you know what I mean? There's the gangster world, and there's different worlds. There's different levels to this.
Right.
And the guys that Pops knows and that loved him, definitely made sure that he was, was taken care of, you know, and loved him, even despite the stupidness and the drama. They still looked at him as a man of God. Does that make sense? And that's what's cool.
Does.
No matter what anybody thought, like we were still men of God. We were just lost and broken and hurt. You do dumb stuff when you're hurt. You know, so it's been a journey, bro, and ever since then, man, we just been elevating up. Every year got better. Me and my dad didn't talk for a lot of years, and we started talking again because it destroyed my family. That whole thing destroyed.
I bet it's heavy. Bro, that's a lot to go through.
That's all we had. You know what I mean? We realized all we had was this stupid club. Like all we had was this. We didn't really have a real bond. Our bond wasn't a dad and son like we have now. It was we wore a patch and we rode together, right? I mean, it's dumb, but it was cool because now we look back and time is short now, right? My dad's older.
Right.
So when we even start talking about old biker stories or war stories, we always laugh because we're like, remember we used to laugh at people who said like, oh, remember and you see the youngsters, it's a different day, bro.
Right.
In my dad's day, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, bro, it was gangster, it was cracking.
Right.
And I'm not saying it ain't cracking now, but my boy will tell you, you know, like we were talking about even like in the prison and stuff, like some dudes don't even know what the Sereno means, you know what I mean? They don't even know what the 13 means, you know what I mean? There's just no history, and everybody you got Instagram and YouTube, and everybody's, you know, you see homies using the different words you don't use, you know, we're like, what, how do you? So we were raised in a culture just so different, and I'm grateful to my dad that he raised us that way, because we respect everybody. We never disrespect people, you know what I mean? We just defended ourselves. We never went looking for trouble all the time. If trouble came to us, bro, we didn't back down. Now I'm a teddy bear, and I just tell people, like, if dudes want to fight, I'm like, oh man, please, no, don't hurt me. I don't want to do this. Because, bro, I've learned from the stuff that happened that they will label us the aggressors. And that's heavy when you're labeled. You're like, dude, like, I was just defending myself, but bro, if you roll in a pack, you all wear black, and you know what I mean? And you're riding bikes, and, you know, and I think a lot of jealousy and envy happened during that time too. Where, like I told you, dudes were upset, you know, like, damn, these guys they're riding fast and they're doing, you know what I mean? Like,
you guys were doing it.
We were doing it, yeah. We were doing the deal. But again, like I said, I don't call ourselves, when people say outlaws, I said, I'm not gonna disrespect them. That's their get down. You know what I mean? They paid, you know, they paid their dues to be that.
Right.
Pops is more of just a rebel. He's just a gangster. He's not, you know, he couldn't even. We just had our own family. It was a family. And we just happened to ride bikes, and then we happened to be Christians, and that, on top of that, we didn't want to be known as a Christian club because we're like, yeah, we know God, but we ain't here trying to save you, bro. You know what I mean? Like we're done with that. You know what I mean? So you can't outrun God. You can't outbox God. You know what I mean? He's too strong, and His love is just too powerful. And on that day when He raided us, I believe it was straight from God, because at the time I thought it was from the devil. But bro, that saved my life. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here with you if God didn't intervene, because I was on a death mission because I didn't like myself. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like growing up. I had a lot of issues, and I turned that all into anger. And my dad used to even tell me, like, oh, you're a violent, angry sucker, you know? And I'd be like, yeah, I am, because that's the only identity I had. But bro, I had all these other gifts, music, this, but I just threw all those to the curb.
Wow.
And I picked the one that was so bad, and so, I mean, it didn't accomplish nothing, you know?
Right.
I think about all those years and the record deals I could have got and the things I could have done if I wasn't wasting time, you know, doing this thing. But on the other end, bro, there's still part of me that it was fun. It was dangerous, but you stay dangerous, you know? There's a part of me like, so I can't believe we survived that. Or, you know, you think about certain things that happened, and it was only by the grace of God and Him covering us, bro, because, I mean, we did a lot, you know? Our life, we have 9 lives, I tell everybody, the Aguilars, you know what I mean? Knock on wood. So it's like, when they do this documentary, you know, like they're more showing the 9 lives of, like, my dad and us, and, like, you know, our family, and the drama and dynamics, and a father trying to, you know what I mean, bro? Like, trying to deal with all his kids and not getting along. I mean, it's so great. Out there, if you're watching, we're more Jerry Springer. We're the best Jerry Springer episode you ever seen. But see, the difference between me and most people, Big Bob, is I'll say the truth. I ain't phony, you know what I mean? I lived it, been there, done that. Sat with the biggest gangsters, sat with the millionaires. It don't even matter, bro. They're all people. They're all human. Yeah. They all got at the end of the night, they all go home and cry when the lights go out. You know what I mean, bro? Like the homies locked up in prison, when those lights turn off, I don't care what you say. You can hear, I've heard stories, you can hear tears, people crying, you know, missing home, missing their family. And I think that's what makes the Aguilar special, is that we actually stop and ask people how they're doing. Because most people in life are like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not looking at my left or right. I got problems. I ain't got to ask that guy. You know, they're not reaching out to anybody. They don't make no impact. They're not friendly. So I think that's the thing with us. We've had a crazy life experience, And we've met, dude, hundreds of thousands of people. You gotta remember, we've been in a lot of circles, right?
Right.
From Cypress Hill to Korn to all these guys are all friends of ours because we've been in the music industry, we've been in the biker world, we've been in the gang, we've been in every world, you know? And now we're in the perfect world.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you go through all that stuff to get to where you're supposed to be, I always say you have a lot of oh no moments in life. You know, oh no, I can't believe, you know, I just got raided, you know, biggest raid in Orange County. Oh no, I lost my job. Oh no, my kid, you know, is on drugs. Or oh no, you have all these oh no moments before you get to that aha moment. Like being here with you all the way out here, that drive was long. We were like, man, this is long, but we got here with you. We seen your smiling face and you welcomed us with love. You're like, it's like, aha. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got that job finally, man. I worked so hard for aha, you know? So if you're watching out there, that's the reason why you relate to us and you're even still watching this podcast, because we're just two broken people who've been through some crazy stuff and God chose to still use us. And yeah, man, I'm at that aha moment. I hope it never ends. You know what I mean? I don't want to go back no more to Egypt, and I don't want to go back to, I don't, you know what I mean? When dudes mad dog or act tough on Instagram or keyboard gangsters, I'm like, dude, you got the wrong dude. Like,
you win.
You got me, bro. You're the baddest outlaw. You're the baddest gangster. I'm just weak. I'm hum, you know. And man, I just really trying to learn to love, you know, on people rather than. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. When I get on the bike and you start opening it up, you're like, you know, what you looking at, homie? But I have to just slap myself, and my wife goes, "Get your butt back before you crash and hurt yourself." You know, you old now, you know. So I mean, it's been a journey, bro. But I mean, like, being here with you has been an honor because it's like for me, like I know that that we connect. You know what I mean? And I know that if anybody's watching, they're gonna connect because it doesn't mean they have to be a biker or live in this crazy world. They should take my family, like I said, the show when it comes out or how it happens.
When do you think that's going to air? Do they give you guys an idea?
Well, we're just right now. We're just doing the meetings for it, right?
Okay.
So we have a trailer, and it's called right now they're calling it God and Gangsters, right? They first called it like Soul Snatcher because my dad snatched up souls for good and bad, right? But that's kind of like cheesy. So you know, the producers, Hollywood, they do it, but this is straight. Real life. This ain't scripted. This ain't Dog the Bounty Hunter. This ain't Sons of Anarchy. You know what I mean? This is like real deal, Holyfield. We have the clips to prove it. So
that's awesome.
If you ain't got no history, you ain't got nothing you can prove it, I don't believe you, right? I see the videos of you back in the days, you know, when you were skinny and you weren't yoked up. So I see him now, right? And I see how he progressed. I'm like, man, that dude put in the hard work to be, you know, I respect dudes who work out and do, because my dad was a big guy on working out. And you know, you just don't go in the gym and get a membership and get big and get yoked up. It's sacrifice, dedication, it's work. It's like anything. So I always respect that, and that's what this shows is like. It shows our life. And my dad has all the videos and clips and movies. He kept all that over the years from the '80s, bro. So they're showing them on TV.
Even that documenting that at that time was ahead of his time. You know what I mean? No one did. They probably laughed at him, like you said. They probably laughed at him for videotaping.
Bro, we moved a lot of times. We would literally record over some of those videos, and like we wouldn't even have them. Like, you know, we'd be like, why do you want these, bro? We left our luggage and our like dishes at a place before he'd take the videos before that.
Wow.
When we were kids, dude, he was buying his cameras, videos, music equipment. My dad was always. We had our own studios. You know what I mean? In the early '90s and 2000s, we were producing and doing. So yeah, we were way ahead of our time. If there was an Instagram or YouTube, we would have been. Definitely a sensation, you know what I mean? If we're getting paid just to follow our lifestyle. But yeah, he documented everything, bro. And he has it all there. So they mix it in with the old stuff, but it's more like new. Shows him having a hard time getting out of bed. You know, he's older, you know what I mean, bro? He dealing with health issues, but that dude's, his mind is like super strong, you know what I mean? That's why I tell people, he could be 80, 90 and stuff, a super strong mind and still kill it, you know? He put that in us, and at 42, I take a lot of his good stuff, and I definitely have some of his bad stuff in me, you know what I mean? But I've learned that you have to outweigh the good with the bad. And now me and him have a great relationship, and you know, we chill out once a week and try to hang. And he's dope, man. Like, I mean, my story's my story, but he's a big part of my story. And he used to be a thorn in my side, you know what I mean? You know how it is, dads are dads, and I'm just grateful that like he's still alive, and we didn't, you know, we're not telling stories in a prison cell, because that's the way it was rolling, you know what I mean? Or in a casket, you know? I mean, we just don't do anything like small. Like
everything was extreme.
Everything was extreme,
balls
bro.
To the wall.
Balls to the wall, till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off.
And Pops is the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
There's not many leaders like him, bro. You can do your research. there's not a lot of guys like him left in the biker world, in the church world. He's one of a kind. You know what I mean? And he has the history to prove it. That's why I always tell people, like, I don't need to lie, bro. It's all there. You know, you can Google us. We're very Googleable for good and bad. So that's why I laugh when you told me about the show. You know, you said, oh, you're on Food's Gone Wild, right? And I was like, yeah, that's funny. That was like 30 years ago almost. But I mean, you know, I'm glad I'm still making people laugh. Right. I don't care if I got homies like, hey, bro, I'm gonna take care of those guys for you, eh? You know, put them on the list. I'm like, bro, I don't even know these guys. I don't even care. But my thing is, like, I'm grateful that I can still influence, whether they're making fun of me, whether they're laughing, they're clowning. Bro, they're still watching. They're still watching me. They're still watching the Aguilars. No matter what they say, they're still looking to see what we're doing. We still got people setting up fake profiles somewhere on Facebook or Instagram watching what Big Bob does or what I do. You know, I always say somebody's watching you from a fake profile right now.
No one does that.
You know what I mean? And but
Kevin 2255666 is real.
Yeah. If they don't got no friends but 5, you know it's not real. You know what I mean? So, you know, the thing about it is that now we just want to encourage, uplift, and inspire, bro. Right. And it's like, if you don't like us, if you don't like my family, that's on you. You know, that's your like I was on a podcast with my boy, shout out Savior Brand. You know, David. I don't know if you know David.
I heard of Savior Brand.
Gospel podcast. Yeah, he's cool, and he was saying like, oh well, this guy said this. You know, he said this about you. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I mean, like, what am I gonna go do? Go track him down? I mean, I just like my name is still in his mouth, and the Aguilars are still. I mean, that's just been the story of our life. I always tell people, like, no matter what you say to me, I've said worse in the mirror to myself.
That's the truth.
So when you deal with a guy who comes with like self-hate and no worth, I know my worth now in Christ, and it don't faze me. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as you don't touch my wife or kids or put your hands on anybody I love, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm all about peace and love, bro. I'm not, you know, representing this or that. And you know, that's why my dad rolls solo. You know, he don't go to bike runs. He don't go to nothing. He's like, I don't go to that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go where I can help people, and I don't want to stand again in the corner and mad dog anybody. You know, it's like, that's cool, but those days are over. And when you got bigger and better things going in your life, and you're focused on like healthy things, this is what we do. You know what I mean? We weren't ever made. It didn't work out that lifestyle, bro, because we weren't designed or built to ever live that lifestyle. I got some homies. They definitely deserve, like, that's them. I'm like, yeah, bro, you belong in Pelican Bay for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, because that's your get down. You know what I mean? But us, that's just not. It's not who God created us to be. You know? So.
I know someone said it doesn't matter if they're talking good or talking bad about you. They're still talking about you. Your name is in their mouth. Yeah. And I remember I was like, oh, that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know I mean, bro, like, my thing is hopefully it's in their mouth now for like positive.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I try to be like where people see me now and they're like, man, that's a good dude. You know what I mean? Like he speaks highly of God and about his family, and you know, he looks like he turned his life around. But there's some people that just, they want to remind you of the past, and I don't live in the past. I live in the present. I live in the now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Right. I don't live in my then. You know what I mean? Right. I live in the now. You know what I mean? What happened back then, I can't change it. You know what I mean, bro? Yeah. Like, oh, you worried about this, you're worried about that. I'm worried about nothing. I'm worried about just being able to get out of bed, grateful for another day to be alive. That's a victory right there. And if anybody got a problem with me, you know what I mean? They got a problem with me, that's fine. It's not. It doesn't. I've learned the more that I've came to the other side, to rolling with Christ, to rolling on the good side. Me and Felix were talking about earlier, like, that drama's no longer there, because I don't feed that monster. I don't, you know, what you water will grow. Right. And I don't water that side. I can't tell you what's going on bikernews.net. I can't tell you who got beat up. I can't tell you what gang is this. I don't even know most of the players in the game no more. You know what I mean? Because I'm considered, I guess, an OG now, like you. You know what I mean? When you're in your 40s, you're old. You know, so I just get out of bed like, oh man, my body's still like, you know what I mean? I ain't dead. Like, I'm breathing. It's a resurrection, dog. So, it's a resurrection. Yeah, so like, but see, that's dudes who've been through some stuff. Right. Like me and you, or like Felix, or like my dad. We've been through some stuff. These youngsters or people that ain't been through stuff, you know, I don't learn from people that ain't been through nothing. So if you ain't built nothing, if you ain't built a mega church, don't tell me how to run a church. If you ain't built a big club, don't tell us how to build a club. You know, the stuff my dad and my brothers and my family have done, we built mega things, but we've also destroyed them. So now we're learning not to destroy these things. We're learning how to build up good businesses and good, you know, we would build stuff up and just knock over the table. Wow. And that's something wrong with yourself, where you need to find your self-worth. And no, you are designed more for God created you more than just to pay bills and die. I believe that, right? And that everybody has a gift inside of them. And if you can just tune out the negative stuff or want to be a bad boy or be this or remember, like I said, all my heroes were on the feds list. So that's a bad way of growing up. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right.
you're like, wait a minute. But now all my heroes are on the Forbes list. All my heroes are on the loving their family list. You know what I mean? Or being a good person. Or all my heroes are dudes who are trying to go to the next level and they're trying to build businesses, or they're cutting hair, or they're doing tattoos, or they're building bikes. You know what I mean? Doing it the right way. You know what I mean, bro?
Right.
And building a community. That's what I like about you. You got like a community that backs you up, and I like that. You know?
Thank you. Yeah.
Really cool.
No, you hit it on the head, man. Because I'm the same way. I try to be around people, like-minded people. I used to laugh at that saying, but that saying is 100% accurate when you're trying to do something great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you, yourself, along with some other people that I follow and I look up to, thank you. And
Thank you,
I
man.
appreciate it, man.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, man, I'm excited. You know, I'm excited about your podcast and the things I've seen on YouTube that you do.
Thank you.
Just the way you treat people, man. And you know, I'm inspired by that, you know?
Thank you, brother.
And knowing that you're a church boy, her boy, man, we're in the same boat.
From church boy to her boy.
And now you know your worth, boy. I mean, there's something special about that, man. There's something special about, like, the way you were raised. Not many people are raised like you or me.
No, that's a rare breed.
So you learn to be around every culture, every background, and nothing scares you. You're like, hey, bro, I've been live with murderers. I live with this, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just, yeah, we're at the place now, bro. There's so many good things happening where you have to pinch yourself. Like, it's too good to be true.
Right.
But, man, you know, I always tell people, like, money comes to us and through us. You know what I mean? Like, we used to figure out 6 years ago I was broke. You know what I mean? Now I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life. Awesome. But the cool thing is I get to get it and give it out. You know, I get to hire my boy, Felix, and people, give them that life, too, where they get it. Now, I don't just hold on to it, you know what I mean? But now we're putting families back together. We're seeing husbands and wives and fathers and daughters, you know what I mean, back to reuniting, stuff we used to do when we were kids, right? Yeah. And now we're doing it as grown-ups, and God's hard up, bro. He doesn't have many people that want to help people.
It's almost like it reversed when we were younger, the things we used to didn't understand. Now we're doing it just in a different way.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I don't know your whole family history, you know what I mean? But I know mine, like, you know what I mean? I'm doing things too that, like, I didn't like that my dad did. I do to my own daughter, you know what I mean? Teenage daughter. So I'm learning, hey, I can't be so tough on my pops, you know what I mean? And, you know, my brothers, and I'm trying to love everybody, you know what I mean? Because I want to be I want to radiate love and kindness, you know what I mean? It's easy, like I said, to go back to the old chill and be violent and angry, and because that was what I thought my dad, like, wanted, you know what I mean? Like, that's, you know, we all got these daddy issues or mother issues, and man, that was so off, you know what I mean? And now I'm finally morphine coming into, I'm not there yet. I'm like, you know, like Paul said in the Bible, I haven't met the mark. Like, I'm a work in progress, so don't judge me if you're watching. I still may fall into sin with your chin, you know what I mean? If you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not tripping no more if someone steps on my shoes and doesn't say sorry. I'm not tripping no more if a dude, hey, fool, you know, you're lame. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Yeah, you're like, I get it, bro. I've been called worse. I mean, I said that this morning, you know, and that's the cool thing about growth is that we've grown. You know what I mean, bro? If I'm the same guy I was years ago, we wouldn't even probably be friends. You know what I mean? And you probably wouldn't like me. I wouldn't like you. And, you know, it'd be like, you know, are we like each other? Like, be homies and get in trouble together, you know? So I'm glad I can lead people the right way. And I can be a good example to my daughter. You know, that's all I really care about is being a good husband and being a good example.
That's all that matters anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the other stuff, I don't even know how people have time.
Right.
But I do understand that everybody's looking for a family. Everybody's looking for a club to be a part of or something because they're broken. Right. You know what I mean? People go into these clubs and they go into these churches and they go into religion because they're all looking to be accepted. And if they realize you don't have to, like, you know, you're already accepted and loved. There's nothing else you have to do. God loves you. He created you. He made you in His image. And if you knew that and you understood that, you wouldn't try to find your identity in something else. And a lot of us just try to find our identity in our father or this or a woman or money or drug, you know. And that's all it is. It's just something inside was broken. Some type of shock happened as a kid. We were abused. We seen something, and I tell people, like, I'm not ashamed to say, you know what I mean? I've been through it. I've been abused. I've been hurt, but you know, now I know my worth in Christ, and man, like, it's like a game changer, you know what I mean? I was on the sidelines, I pouted and cried after we got raided. I was pissed and wanted to go to war, but you know, all that. And God just sat me down on the sidelines, and you know, some good people, some good mentors threw spiritual Gatorade in my face. Because you know, the reality, bro, is when that happened, it caused a big like my family and us all, like we all kind of turned, like, you know, argued and stuff.
Right.
Because when there's no money, there's no church, you know, it's just very, you know, and Pops doesn't have anything. It's like, hey, you guys got to figure it out. So it really was a hard, it's been, you know, it was a hard years, a lot of years of trying to find your identity is hard, bro. You feel like you're in a witness protection program. You're like, whoa, like I'm not on the streets like I used to. Because what happened was that one of our guys in our club signed like a gang card. Okay. So once you do that, like he basically made it bad for you. Like they can arrest you at any time and take you to jail if you're in Anaheim, right? And you're a soldier. So it was a rough time. The cops were on us. It was just a heavy time, but through that, man, you know, like I said, there's always a breakdown before a breakthrough, and it took a lot of years. And now the last few years, man, it's like, I don't want to say it's smooth sailing, but you know, when you start learning about yourself, and my dad's learned about himself, I mean, it's not too late to learn, you know, like what you could change. So yeah, I have like me and Pops. I mean, I think this story, my story, is a lot of his story because, you know, we were, you know, trying to earn the Father's love. Well, now I know that the Father's love is through Christ, and Pops is like super cool now. Like we sit and have conversations like we never had before, and
that's awesome.
That's cool. And now you're trying to redeem the time. You know, you're like, hopefully, and he's just wisdom. He gives a lot of wisdom. You know what I mean, bro? Like it's like not many people lived a life like him. So I get asked him questions like, why did you do that? Yeah. Why did you leave 7,000 members, bro? You couldn't even. We come from the generation of like hear no, speak no, see no evil. Right. I got it tattooed on me. You know what I mean? At a young age, like you know, the code is you just didn't ask. But now you can ask him anything. You know, and no matter what they say about him or my family, like I said, they call us when they need somebody to help get somebody off drugs. Right. We're the 3 a.m. call. You know what I mean, bro? Still lit. So that says there's not many people out there left. So you can be mad at us, dislike us, it don't matter. We're still that call where they call, and we set trends. You know what I mean, bro? We were doing stuff way before everybody was doing it. And can't be mad at that. I just tell people just give respect. You know what I mean? Give the honor where it's due. They may not give us our flowers to our dead, but if you look at the videos or the things we post over the years, bro, it's all there. You know what I mean? You can't.
The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, you know. And people probably say the same thing in your life, and I did that before, and Big Bob's like, nah, he's the first to do that. You know what I mean? We all got that, and we all got some special gift in us, and just gotta ask God to show it to you. And you gotta get rid of the BS. That's what I told you. You gotta get, hey man, I don't want to be like you guys. I go, well, be ready to be humble. Be ready to get humbled. Because you ain't gonna get nothing good in life if you ain't humble. If you can't be a friend to somebody, if you're such a badass that you can't have no friends, bro, you're gonna be a lonely life. So be friendly, be nice, be kind. I always say you never know who, you know what I mean? Be nice on the way down, on the way up, because you never know who you're gonna need on the way down, you know? And we learned that firsthand, you know what I mean? Some of the people that we probably did the worst or, you know, hurt their feelings the worst, they were the ones who were there with us when we fell, you know? There wasn't many, but there was a couple that came back around. It's like, yeah, you guys are foolish, but I love you. And I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen a lot of people come to us just with their hands out, like I'm sure you've seen. But I've learned that I can't take it personal. We ask God to use us, and then we get mad when He uses us. You know what I mean? So this life ain't for everybody, bro. And if you're watching, you know, you want to help people, be prepared, because, you know, it's a high risk of being hurt. So.
From hurt boy to church boy to know your worth boy.
There it is, bro.
You're a rapper.
Right on, bro.
Thank you, brother.
God bless
Appreciate
you,
it,
man. Thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of It's What We Do podcast. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Black Widow Investigation, our superstar producer, July King, Alpha Films. We'll talk to you guys soon.